I don't want to commercialize my art into $50 portrait commissions. And it took me 6 years to realize that there are more ways to live off my art when I'll be ready. When I just started my art journey, all I could think of is about getting my first commission, earning my first dollar online. I treated it as an hallmark of my success in my future art career, a badge of honor I could show off to my family that yes, you can in fact earn money as an artist. But making more than a few $100 a month from commissions seemed impossible for me. I wasn't blessed by a bombardment of clients who wanted to throw money at me to draw yet another 3/4 portrait of their favorite original character from a critically acclaimed, which also has a free trial. Wait, wrong video. But yes, maybe that's a good thing. Because I don't want to see my entire art career becoming a fast food factory of repetitive portraits. And maybe you feel that this isn't a road for you either. I'm a slow artist. I'm meticulous. I like to spend on average about 20 hours per artwork. And if my Procreate data and my math skill don't lie, I'd have to do 5 artworks for $200 to earn 1,000. That's 100 hours. More than a typical 9 to 5 job. And don't forget about taxes too, which would make me add another 2 artworks to compensate. But I'm doing what I love, right? It means I'm never working an hour out of my life. You could say that I could increase my prices and that I'm undervaluing my art skills. But at the current moment, I struggle to attract clients for $200 for my artworks. Even though I'm surrounded by positive reinforcements of me being hella underrated. But still, it didn't sit right with me. I don't want to turn my art career into a 9 to 5 job. And here's what I plan to do instead. There is one huge and extremely damaging misconception in the art community. The only way to make a living is by doing commissions or working for a company. If you're not constantly taking commissions or you're not working for big players, you're doing something wrong. This kind of thinking can be limiting and can prevent artists from exploring their full potential. You're often told and even encouraged to forego your own ideas and passions to mold yourself into a tool for other people's dreams. This is especially true in the commission world, where clients have their own vision for their ideas. I'm all for collaboration, as it's a place where 2 or even more minds are set on creating something amazing. Yet, it's equally important to remember that your own vision is worth pursuing as well. Commission work can be a great source of income and a way to build a portfolio for yourself. But it shouldn't be the only focus of your career. You can and should carve time for personal projects and explore your own interests. Why? To develop your style and voice, which will make you even more successful and fulfilled artist. Look, every business guru and their mother will say that you won't make big stacks if you trade your time for money, and suffice it to say, they're right. There's only so much you can do with increasing your prices. You can get away with increasing your prices so much. There's a finite amount of clients who can pay for high-ticket commissions. And why do they want to pay an artist who charges a high amount for the services in the first place? Because they're popular. Because they can supply a demand for a particular style. You could say that they are a celebrity of sorts. A combination of that allows them to do just that. And look, I'll be honest. The highest amount I ever got for an art commission was about $600, even though it was outside of my specialty. And I kinda hated the end result. The client loved it, by the way, but that's not the point. I know that I won't be able to sustain it. I rarely feel satisfied when doing a commission that is either way too much of my comfort zone or out of my preferences. Plus, I will feel unfulfilled if I take the job just because of the money. I'd rather have a separate job that's not wholly related to my art, like graphic design for example. Gotta make use of my bachelor's degree, am I right? I know I'll burn out quickly if I force myself to live off commissions alone. And being the slow perfectionist that I am, I won't allow myself to churn out tasteless work for my clients. I want the commissions that I take to be meaningful, as much as I can able to. I want to make work that's full of life, not churn them like a factory for daily content. This is exactly why I don't want to turn my art into a traditional side hustle. You 100% can bite the bullet and push through the hard times if you are trying whatever the next big trend in the manosphere is. Last I checked, it's still dropshipping. It doesn't sit right with me. I'll burn out immediately. Believe me, I speak from experience. The business advice you most often hear is to separate money from time. Make it outside of your spent time, and you can do that in a lot of ways as an artist. Having tried to make a clothing brand with just my designs proved quite a failure, because I didn't consider the fact I had no leverage, an audience at that moment. Yes, I do have a business of my own, called Lost Love, but the problem with it, the way I see it now, is that I didn't give it proper time developing my brand before starting selling. I thought I could do both at the same time. I didn't develop an audience for my designs, and it showed quite literally in the lack of sales. Only about 3 sales in about 9 months. Still, if you're interested, I'd appreciate it if you check it out. The link is in the description, even for the sole sake of evidence that I do have experience in trying to monetize my art beside commissions. There are many other career paths in the art world that don't necessarily involve commissions. This can include working in animation, concept art, graphic design, illustration, or even fine art. By exploring different avenues, you might find a niche that suits your skills and interests even better than commission work. The starving artist is a myth, but it still exists because artists are not taught to learn sales and marketing, and unless you're crazy fast, can charge over 5 figures for a commission and don't get bored doing client work, you're not in luck. But how can you separate time from money? Make a product. But then you might ask, what kind of product can an artist make? It's all around you. Brush packs, templates, courses, mentorships. The possibilities are endless. There's another issue that many aspiring artists face: the stigma around putting a price tag on their work. There's a pervasive notion in the creative world that selling out is the ultimate sin. If you're truly passionate about your art, you should be willing to work for free or for exposure alone. Starving artists exist because they are too prideful to sell their work. It's okay to ask for compensation if your stuff genuinely helps other people. We all know the absurdity of the NFTs. But I personally believe if the reception towards creatives was more positive, there won't be such a resistance towards new ways of monetizing your art. The issue still exists because people romanticize their stereotypes of a starving, or even worse, a self-destructive artist. This is concerning to any aspiring artist who are still building their portfolio and their reputation. You're told that you should be grateful for any opportunity that comes your way, that you should be willing to do commissions or other work for low or even no pay just to get your foot in the door. The problem with this mentality is that it undervalues the work that artists do. It brings more harm than good for the overall art community. It spreads a myth that art is just a hobby or a luxury, rather than a profession that deserves a fair compensation. And it puts pressure on artists to forgo their own ideas and visions, to mold themselves into tools for other people's dreams. At the same time, there's a stigma attached to putting a big price tag on your work. You worry that if you charge too much, you'll be seen as greedy or arrogant. You'll be afraid that you'll lose potential clients or opportunities if you demand the true worth of your art. I don't know about you, but I never had good experience with clients who demanded low prices for my work. Never. It's complete opposite with those who understood the value of my work and gave proper compensation. I don't know, it's just my anecdotal experience. Take it as you will. I remember a backlash on Twitter where a fairly popular artist updated their price sheet to have an absurdly high price, which was about in the ballpark of €1,000 per commission. Everyone, and almost everyone, went to town ranting that what they did is crazy, unthinkable, and whatever else nonsense they had to come up with to cope with their audacity. As far as I know, they continue to get clients. It's understandable, no one wants to come across as entitled or pretentious, or to alienate potential supporters. There is no easy answer to this dilemma. But one way of finding an answer for yourself is to start thinking for yourself for once, akin to people pleasing. We'd rather be seen in a good eye by a ton of strangers that we don't even know in the face, rather than to have a solid chance of earning a thriving income doing what we love. How did old artists survive? They found high-value patrons that supported their artistic endeavors. Most of the time, prominent artists found help from a rich person who loved their craft and wanted to support them. Most of the time, that also included that the artists also became a sort of servant to their patron. If they didn't make the stuff that the patron liked, chances are the patron would stop supporting them with money, and artists had to make up for what they had locally. Whatever people resided in their immediate vicinity could they look as a patron. Word of mouth and fame already existed then. But you get my point. Looking for compensation was a hassle. What's different now? The internet. Over 8 billion eyes at your fingertips. And you still worry that nobody likes your art and that you get no clients. Yeah, sure, there's no chance that you can appeal to 100% of the human population. And you shouldn't need to. But even 100% of the human population is 800,000 people. Provide value to those in any shape or form, and you have your money supply figured out. And even then, think about 80,000 people. That's a whole ass stadium. Think of possibilities if you can get that kind of amount of people obsessing of your craft. Yes, I know the feeling of posting your art or work on the internet. It feels like shooting in the dark, hoping to hit the bullseye. But don't forget that 99% of people are lazy, comfortable, and self-centered. If you keep obsessing over one thing, winning is damn near written. You're creative, you're persistent. The fact that you picked up the pen and want to make a living off of your craft is a testament that you're going against the grain. You want your own thing. I know firsthand the experience of venturing into the unknown. Everyone tells you to do that by this amount of age, have this by this age, have a family by this age before 30s or whatever, and it's almost jamming to go in another direction. But most of the time, it is the most rewarding decision you could make in your life. So what if your first 100 posts flop? So what if nobody watches your first 10 videos? You weren't stressed about the views or likes when you just started scribbling on paper. You did it because you had fun. Start having fun. Every artist has to find their own way to balance their creative passions and their financial needs. Some may choose to focus on exposure over income, at least in the early stages of their career, while others may set firm boundaries and refuse to work for less than what they believe their work is worth. For me, I only enjoy doing an occasional commission from time to time. If I rely solely on this as my main income, I'd quickly find myself without any money. However, you and I are creatives. There are a ton of ways of monetizing your skills, and not one way fits two people. The most important thing you can do as an artist is to value yourself and your work, and to be willing to stand up for what you was. Putting a proper price tag on something you're proud of shouldn't be a sin. Selling out is not a sin, and it's totally not a betrayal of your creative integrity. It's a way to share your unique vision with the world, and to make a living doing what you love. And that's something you should be proud of, not ashamed of. With that said, I'd love to hear from you. Which ways of monetizing art were successful for you? Which didn't work? Pick up the pen and start drawing. Bye!